Imagine a country that had just gained independence, no strong industries, food shortages everywhere, people struggling with poverty, and the government had one huge question: how do we build an entire nation from scratch? So, India came up with a bold idea: a roadmap for the future, not for 1 year, not for one project, but for the next 5 years at a time. And that is how the famous 5 year plans were born. But here's the interesting part: some plans transformed India forever, some failed badly, some created revolutions, and one economic crisis almost pushed India into bankruptcy. So, today we are going to travel through India's economic journey from 1951 all the way to modern India. Hello everyone, this is Dr. Premlata from Vistas. Welcome to my channel Economics Unplugged. Today we are exploring one of the most important chapters in Indian economic history, the evolution 5 year plans in India. This is not just about policies and numbers. This is the story of how India tried to fight poverty, build industries, grow agriculture, create jobs, and become a modern nation. And trust me, by the end of this video, you will understand how these plans shape the India we live in today. Let's start from the beginning. India became independent in 1957, but independence came with huge challenges. The economy was weak, industries were limited, agriculture was backward, people were poor. Now imagine trying to run a country with millions of people but very limited resources. So the government thought, instead of random development, why not plan everything carefully? That's where economic planning began in 1951. India adopted something called a mixed economy. That means some sectors were controlled by the government, some by private businesses. The government took responsibility for major sectors like steel, electricity, transport, dams, infrastructure, because they believed the government should guide the country's development. Now you might wonder, what exactly were these plans trying to achieve? The goals were very ambitious. First, economic growth. India wanted to increase production and income. Second, poverty reduction. Millions were living below the poverty line. Third, employment generation. The country needed jobs for its growing population. Fourth, self-reliance. India didn't want to depend too much on foreign countries. And fifth, modernization. India wanted modern industries, technology, education, and infrastructure. So basically, the 5 year plans were India's long term strategy to transform itself into a strong and developed nation. Now comes India's very first 5 year plan, and interestingly, the government decided to focus mainly on agriculture. Why? Because food shortage was a huge problem. People were struggling even for basic food supplies. So the government invested heavily in irrigation, farming, and rural development. Big dams like the Bakranangal Dam were built. These dams were called the temples of modern India by Jawaharlal Nehru. And honestly, this plan worked surprisingly well. India achieved around 3.6% growth, better than expected. For a newly independent country, this gave confidence that planning could actually work. Now, India wanted to dream bigger. The second 5 year plan focused on industrialization. Economist P.C. Mahalanobis designed this strategy. His idea was simple: if India builds heavy industries now, future growth will become faster. So the government invested in steel plants, machine production, factories, Major steel plants were built at Bhilai, Durgapur, and Rourkela. Think about it. India was laying the foundation for becoming an industrial nation. This plan completely changed India's economic direction from agriculture to heavy industries. The third plan had very important goal: self-sufficiency in food production. India wanted to produce enough food for its own people. Agriculture and industries both received attention. But then disaster struck. India faced the 1962 war with China and the 1965 war with Pakistan and severe droughts. Suddenly, huge amounts of money had to be spent on defense instead of development. Food production suffered badly, and the third plan failed. This shows something important. Even the best economic plans can collapse because of unexpected crisis. After the failure of the third plan, India decided to pass 5-year plans temporarily. This period is called the planned holiday. Instead of one big plan, India introduced 3 annual plans. The main focus was agriculture, and this period became historic because one of major event, the Green Revolution. New farming technologies, high yield seeds and fertilizers, and irrigation techniques were introduced. And slowly, India started overcoming food shortages. This was a turning point for agriculture. The fourth plan focused on two things: growth and stability. The government also wanted to reduce inequality. During this time, an important decision was taken: bank nationalization. Major banks came under government control. The idea was to make loans available even to poor people and farmers. But India also faced a rising inflation. Prices increased rapidly and economic stability became difficult. Still, the government continued focusing on social welfare and development. The fifth plan became famous for one powerful slogan: Garibi Hatao, remove poverty. The government launched employment programs and anti poverty measures. The focus shifted directly toward helping poor people, but politics created instability. When the government changed in 1977, the plan was terminated early in 1978. This shows how politics and economics are often deeply connected. The sixth plan restarted the focus on poverty reduction, but something new was happening now. India slowly started moving toward technology, modernization, and energy development. Electricity, infrastructure, and industrial efficiency became important. Growth rates improved compared to earlier years. India was slowly preparing for economic transformation. Now, India entered a more modern phase. The seventh plan focused on productivity, technology, and employment, and something very important started growing during this time: IT and telecommunications. Yes, the early roots of India's future tech revolution begin here. The country was modernizing rapidly, but underneath the surface, economic problems were also building up. Now comes one of the most dramatic moments in Indian economic history. In 1991, India faced a massive economic crisis. The country had huge fiscal deficits, rising debt, almost no foreign exchange reserves. In fact, India had money to import goods for only a few weeks. The situation became so serious that India had to pledge gold reserves. Imagine that, a country pledging gold just to survive economically. And this crisis forced India to completely rethink its economy. This led to the famous LPG reforms: liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And India's economy changed forever. After the 1991 crisis, the eighth plan started in a completely new economic environment. Now, India was more open to private companies, foreign investment, global markets. The focus shifted toward human development, education, healthcare, and employment. Economic reforms started showing results. India's economy began growing faster. This period marked the beginning of modern economic India. The ninth plan focused on growth with social justice. The government wanted development to reach villages and rural communities too. So, agriculture and rural development received major attention. The goal was simple: growth should benefit everyone, not just cities. The 10th plan set a bold target: 8% economic growth. Now the government focused more on measurable outcomes. Infrastructure development increased, roads, communication, and services improved rapidly. India was becoming one of the fastest growing economies in the world. This plan became known for one important idea: inclusive growth. The government realized that growth alone is not enough. Development should include poor people, rural areas, education, and healthcare. So, the focus was on reducing inequality and improving human development. The 12th five-year plan focused on faster growth, sustainable development, environmental protection, and skill development. India now wanted growth that was not only fast but also environmentally responsible. The country also started preparing its youth with skills for future jobs. And then came a major change. In 2015, the Planning Commission was abolished. Instead, India created NITI Aayog. Now, the focus shifted from centralized planning to policy guidance, cooperative federalism, and flexibility. This marked the end of the traditional five-year plans era. So, were the five-year plan successful? The answer is both yes and no. They helped India improve agriculture, build industries, reduce poverty, develop infrastructure. But challenges remained: regional inequality, unemployment, corruption, and uneven development. Still, without these plans, India's economic journey would have looked completely different. The five-year plans laid the foundation for modern era. So that was the incredible journey of India's five-year plans, from food shortages to industrial growth, from economic crisis to global reforms, from centralized planning to modern policy thinking. India's economic story is truly fascinating. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment your favorite five-year plan, and subscribe my channel Economics Unplugged for more engaging economics content. And remember, economics is not just about numbers. It's the story of people, nations, struggles, and transformation. See you in the next video. Thank you.